Are we live? Good. Sorry, the computer is doing a bit of a madness this morning, but I think I'm live. Good morning. Welcome back to MUFC versus everybody. I am your host, Sean, and this is the Manchester United fan channel that truly is a fan channel. This is a channel built and basically run on your opinions, your viewers, everybody getting involved in the live chats and the comments. I'm thankful for you guys being a part of the channel every day and just contributing to the conversation and really just, making it what it is. And that's why I'm here. I already see Danny in the chat. Good morning, Danny. How are you, my friend? Today, got a little bit of things to talk about. Obviously, some transfer news. I will be back probably later on this afternoon to kind of react to Ten Hag's pre-match press conference ahead of the season opener, our home opener against Fulham tomorrow. So once we get press conference and the team news and all that, come back later on this afternoon for that preview, and then we'll dive in there. But before we do get stuck in today, go ahead and hit that like button for me. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you are new. You like what you see, you like being a part, you like kind of having a channel where your voice and your opinions are heard. Nobody wants to sit and listen to me talk for a half hour, so I'd much rather have you guys do it. So let's get stuck into some transfer news, and then obviously we're going to chat a little bit about some of these VAR changes, because if you haven't been watching the channel for a while, you know how I feel about VAR. But we're going to take a look at some of these upcoming changes that are planned and get your thoughts, share a little bit of my thoughts, and let's dive right in. So remember how on Monday, Man United's recruitment team held a meeting to discuss transfer plans. That includes plans for the upcoming windows, the end of this window, and also potential sales. Well, sounds like left back has been moved to the top of the priority list. It should have been at the top of the list all along, in my opinion. Like we just found out the other day, you can't rely on Luke Shaw. I love Luke Shaw. He's amazing when he's fit. He just isn't fit. And so to me, he's almost a non-entity as part of the squad at this point. It just is what it is. I'm thinking about the club, thinking about the squad, thinking about results and performances. I can't focus too much on the feelings of one player. This is why Jesse Lingard is no longer here. We love you, Jesse. We're thankful for you coming through the academy. It just wasn't going to work out. It is what it is. So Muppeteers reported that in terms of long-term, United are very interested in Milos Kerkez and Rayan Aït-Nouri at Bournemouth and Wolves, respectively. But those sound like they could be summer deals next summer, not this summer. So this is why we got those reports yesterday that we're maybe looking at free agents or loans. God help us. I don't want us to look anywhere near Marcos Alonso. That was one of the names listed. Just bring back Reguilon for the year. I don't care. Just do it. But this isn't the first time we've been linked to Kerkez and Aït-Nouri. We were heavily linked with them heading into the summer. Over the summer, obviously, Kerkez was with Hungary at the Euros. A lot of people really like both these players. I thought Kerkez had his ups and downs. Aït-Nouri, I think, has really come on really well in the last few years, since he was like a rotation option with what's his face? I think his name was Danny. Is that his name? Johnny Otto, I think, was his name at Wolves. And obviously Wolves also have Bueno as well at left back. Sports predictions. Good morning. What's up, my friend? Good to see you. So we've got a couple of names that might have been added to the list. It sounds like we are planning for life without Luke Shaw, maybe sooner than later. It sounds like maybe we're starting to realize we just can't count on this guy, or maybe we just want to make sure we have a ready-made contingency plan. But it's odd to me. We've got Malacia. We still have Malacia. I don't know what's going on with Malacia. Ten Hag said he does want, two basically starting players in each position. So we're planning ahead. It never hurts to be proactive. I'm glad we're being proactive. It's kind of like the transfer planning and squad building and recruitment needs to be like playing pool, billiards, whatever you want to call it. Sometimes the obvious shot isn't the one you want to take right away. You got to plan a couple moves ahead and have those plans in place ready to go to put yourself in the best position. And so hopefully that's what we're doing. One left back that we might not be getting, though, is Ferdi Kadiolu at Fenerbahce. Romano gave us a here we go this morning on Ferdi, saying that he is going to be going to Brighton. Although didn't they just sign Valentin Barco from Boca last year? Was that in January they did that? Obviously, he's a little younger, so maybe he's still kind of in development. But then right as I was going live, Center Devils shared a report from Turkish outlets claiming that United have also submitted a bid for Kadiolu as well. It's claimed that we have offered the most money in the initial payment in our bid, but Brighton's offer is worth more when the add-ons are taken into account. And so could be a matter of, do Fener want more money up front or more money potentially in the long term? To me, it's, a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. If you're getting money now, why don't you take it? But we'll see how it is. Danny says, I'm not sure how legit it is, probably because clickbait from Alice as usual, but we have supposedly put a bid in for Purdy. Yeah, that's what I was just talking about. The report is coming from Center Devils on Twitter, right? The big United account, but they're sharing the report from a couple Turkish outlets. It's always iffy when the reports come from outlets in the country of the league where the player is. Something you see it oftentimes with Spanish outlets, with Portuguese outlets. It's always iffy. I'm not saying like it's automatically like, but you never know. I would really like us to get Ferdy. I've waxed lyrical about Ferdy many, many times. I love him. He's such a good fullback. I think he would instantly improve our starting 11. I think he's better than Shaw. I would argue maybe he's better than Mazraoui. But I'm not going to I know we have Mazraoui it's better to have the players than not. So now Fenerbahce have a decision to make if these rumors are true, which bid they're going to accept. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, Fenerbahce have been linked with Lindelof. Maybe we could have a little bit of a sweetener in that deal and kind of maybe give them a little discount on that to kind of sweeten the pot. We know Mourinho is their manager now. He brought Lindelof to United several years ago. Maybe we could have the upper hand in that regard, but we'll see how it goes. Maybe Mourinho will be bitter and just say, no, I don't want him to go to United if we sell him. Yeah, Danny B says Barca was fire. Watson Boki. Yeah, he was one that I really wanted us to get back like that summer. We were looking at, we got Malacia and stuff. I was like, man, get this young kid in. He's looking very talented. His numbers look good. He's highly rated. Let's get him in, develop him, see how he goes. This is still back when we had Tellez, by the way. So Danny B says Brighton always signed the best of top prospects. Oh gosh, I forgot they signed Mats Wafer. Oh man, what a player that guy is. He'll be going for like 3 times as much as they paid for him in a year or two. I guarantee you that. That's going to be Caicedo level money. He's not like the most fashionable signing, but he is such a soldier in that midfield for Feyenoord. Brighton do have really good recruitment. The problem is with clubs that are built on that is that kind of like Dortmund, you don't ever actually really compete for everything. Your goal as a club, success for you is basically making money on flipping players, which is fine, but you're kind of limiting yourself in that regard. At some point, Brighton really need to take the money that they're making from these players that they're selling and flipping, like your Caicedos and Cucureas and whatnot, and they need to actually try to sign some big stars and actually make a push. I think under De Zerbi was probably their best chance. We'll see how it goes, but Brighton, if they want to be taken seriously, if they want to kind of organically start to be able to do that stuff and not have to really concern themselves so much with being a selling club, because that's what they are, they need to start taking that profit and signing some big players. But that's just my opinion. I think that I would want any club, whether it's Dortmund or like Southampton back when they were kind of known as a flipping club and stuff, I want them to kind of have some ambition and not just be satisfied with that. And so like Ajax under Ten Hag kind of raised their ambition. They weren't really challenging for leagues or Champions Leagues for a while. Like if you deep it, like people say, well, Ajax always like win. Before Ten Hag arrived, Ajax weren't winning for several years. They didn't win any Eredivisie. They hadn't gotten to a Champions League semifinal in like decades. He came in back to back Eredivisie's Champions League semifinal for this first time in like 15, 20 years. It's not that simple. So we'll see how it goes. Danny B says, I'd say Slot was pissed he didn't work fast and get him. I mean, Liverpool are going to be interesting. They already have good players, right? Liverpool fans can't complain about not signing players and then also gas up their players year round. It's just, you can't have it both ways. It's kind of like Newcastle. You can't claim to be this underdog, but then all of a sudden try to sit at the big kids table when it suits you. You got to pick one and stick with it. And so Liverpool coming up with excuses already for, why they're not winning the league. There was a hilarious compilation. If you guys watch the Football Terrace, there's a funny a little video of Hassam just raging out about missing out on Zubimendi. Oh man, I'm here for that. I'm honestly like, I don't even care. Like, you guys know me. I'm here for the shithousery, like 100%. The tribalism, the rivalry, the banter. I am all for it, 100%. And so maybe we could grab. I mean, if we get 30 and we get a midfielder like Ugarte, and we sell Eriksen and McTominay, and we get like another midfielder like Sander Berge or something, that's a crazy transfer window. My expectations might jump up a little bit at that point, but we'll talk more about that in another video. Because on midfield, one player who doesn't look like he'll be coming back to Old Trafford is potentially Sofian Amrabat. So remember, we talked the other week, like I said, like, does anyone want to tell United that Amrabat's still on their website as part of the squad? His profile was finally removed from our squad on the website. He was on there for a while, like I said. He was even photographed in this year's home shirt, which is a little interesting. United have apparently unfollowed him on social media. Amrabat apparently removed United from his social media bio tool. So by football social media rules, it's official, right? It's social media official. It kind of feels like middle school drama right now, honestly, talking about people unfollowing people on social media. The fact that a club unfollows, like, a club is an entity, is really strange to me still. But maybe it's just because I'm old. But it does feel a little bit dramatic, like we're in high school. Do you think it'll be weird at prom? Like, for fuck's sake, come on. It's weird. But we do take that maybe as a sign that Amrabat is moving on. So it'd be interesting to see. I mean, it's unfortunate. I don't blame Amrabat. He kind of got shoehorned into left back when he started, and he was really hung out to dry often. I was at that Palace match when he was getting exploited left and right. So it is what it is. He kind of showed up towards the end of the season and looked pretty decent. We'll see. Maybe we've moved on. Danny V says, seems that we screwed Amrabat, played him along again. Should have stayed, 3-year deal. Yeah, I think we were kind of, it seemed like for a second there, for the last few weeks, it kind of like we were keeping him on hold, like in case some of this Ugarte stuff doesn't work out, maybe recreating that or attempting to in the aggregate with like an Amrabat and a Sander Berge double swoop for like 30 million might have been in the cards. But I think that, could this mean that we're ready to make a deal for Ugarte? We know Jorge Mendes has been in London meeting with United, with Chelsea, about Ugarte and João Felix respectively. It sounds like some reports are claiming that PSG are ready to lower their asking price. We'll see how it goes. Jadon Sancho was a big loan obligation to buy thing yesterday that we spoke about. So could this be a sign? It's kind of like, looking over here to see what's happening over here. Sometimes you learn a lot about what could potentially happen in one situation by seeing how other situations are looking. So that's why you always got to deep it and look around a little bit. Context, right? But we will see, man. I think that Amrabat did get the short end of the stick a little bit. I think that he wasn't necessarily given a fair shot, similar to Donny van de Beek under Ollie. Like, we'll almost never know what could have been with Donny van de Beek, simply because he just was never given a fair run of games. He was never given really good minutes. I mean, the kid came on in the last few minutes against Palace on his debut and scored a goal. If that were an academy graduate or something, top Reds would be wanking over that for years. But Donny, and it's unfortunate for Donny, but I think it was a similar situation with Amrabat. I do think he started, like I said, to develop a little bit and get acclimatized to the league, but might have been too little too late. And that's not necessarily 100% his fault. So best of luck. We'll see what happens there. Maybe it means some of our other midfield stuff is developing a little bit. But staying with midfield for a moment. So Rob Dawson with ESPN claims that United's interest in Sander Berge is stalling because Burnley's asking price is just too unrealistic, apparently. He does add, though, that Ten Hag does want another midfielder in the squad. So, again, midfield sounds like it's a priority. We've kind of been haggling and pursuing. I'm glad that we're looking at multiple targets at once, but it's like, I worry this Ugarte situation, which, I mean, again, sounds like PSG might be lowering their bid. For a second, I was worried it was going to be like a Harry Maguire situation where we take all summer and we still end up paying the full price if that's who we really want. I'm all for backing the manager and getting a top priority, but you have to be able to walk away. And with that in mind, you have to have other adequate targets. Some of the other targets we've been linked with midfield are not like for like with Ugarte. So it's very, interesting to see. I heard somewhere yesterday, I forget where I heard it from. It sounds like AC Milan could be ended up getting Yusuf Fofana. Did we kind of let that interest leak and things, and did we kind of allow that story to build, that interest to build, to maybe pressure PSG? We know they've been making some big signings. They just swooped for Desiree Doué. They want Jadon Sancho. Maybe we use that to our advantage. If so, that is some next level negotiating and some cerebral shit from our recruitment team, right? So again, what did I say about Ashworth and Barada going into the season? They will pay for themselves tenfold over a couple of season or a couple transfer windows just with the negotiating alone. Just the amount of money they could save. That's why I wasn't too bothered by paying a little bit to bring him in from Newcastle and getting that gardening leave squashed early on. It worked out fine because we didn't end up paying more than what they paid Brighton, but what it is. Danny B says, we need to look at totally unknown 20, 23-year-olds from South America or small in Europe. I know I have a couple in hand, Sean. Yeah, you and I both, man. We sat here and listed a bunch the other day too, right? And so there are many out there. I'm hoping now in the last decade, we didn't really do scouting, right? It was literally like some 11-year-old playing Ultimate Team who's never followed or watched a game of football. They just pick the best players that they can find. I'm hoping that we actually do some scouting, that we reach out. We look in the Croatian League. We look in South America. We look in Belgium. We look at a lot of other countries where these players are coming. There are players who are making moves now, from like Antonio Nusa going to Leipzig. He's a great winger at Club Brugge. He's going now. Things like that. Bjorn Meyer, the left back at Brugge that I've mentioned before. Players like that. Onyedika at Club Brugge. A lot of really good players out there. And I know you and I have talked a little bit, Danny, about some of the South American. You've recommended some as well. Your boy Eki down there. So sticking with midfield as well, Rob Dawson also shared that Scott McTominay is aware of Napoli's interest in him and the Italian club's offers under consideration. So you remember we spoke yesterday that Napoli were a new name thrown in the ring for Scott McTominay. DiMarzio added a little bit this morning, claiming that Napoli will probably end up selling Victor Osimhen this summer, and McTominay will be brought in with part of those funds as well. Dawson adds, though, that United do want a permanent move. We don't want a loan. And so some of these clubs have offered loans, and we're not interested in that. If he's going to leave, he's going to leave. It sounds a little bit too, from some reports, that McTominay is more open to the idea of leaving as well. So Mandela Keita, yeah, that was another one I was watching a couple weeks ago. I was reading a little bit about Sao Paulo. Yeah, I'll go check out Maya on Sao Paulo, man. Danny, man, my South American scout, man. I appreciate that. Like I said, it's hard for me to watch some of those matches. Like if they're not on like Paramount. Yeah, I know you guys are recommended like the IPTV something, but I'm not very technologically advanced, so we'll see what happens. Like I said, my computer's doing a madness today, so we'll see what it is. We did get some other news this afternoon, yesterday, about potential outgoings. So that's something we also really need to keep in mind before this window shuts. We do have players that we need to get rid of. So Dharmesh Sheth with Sky Sports, he's kind of been on it this summer. He's been really active and stuff. He reports that we are expecting some formal bids from Christian Eriksen. Remember, Eriksen was here on Saturday giving his thoughts on the Community Shield and stuff. You remember, that was my guy Dylan. He looks just like Christian Eriksen. It's been a long-running joke for almost 2 years now with the Detroit Red Devils group that the dude looks exactly like Christian Eriksen. But apparently a number of clubs have explored conditions of a deal for Eriksen. He's got 1 year left in his contract. I think midfield recruitment is a priority. We just got to move some players on first. So Danny says, yeah, I came across Maya last summer. Yeah, I'm gonna remember that guy. I'm gonna go look him up a little bit later on and see what he's all about, my guy. A little bit of stadium related news. So we already spoke in one video about the idea of a 100K seat stadium. That, that's the presented kind of option there. That's the plan. That's the ambition. Go check that out. Go check that video out if you haven't yet. We talked a little bit about economics and philosophy in there. I thought that was a really cool video. Then we got reports last week that if a new stadium is built, United could opt to keep Old Trafford but reduce the capacity and kind of make it a shared stadium for the academy and the women's teams. So now, yesterday, we got some reports from Mike Keegan that say we could still opt to redevelop Old Trafford, but should we take the plunge on a new ground, it will be the biggest, most expensive project of its kind Britain has seen. The estimated time will be around 6 years. So anybody thinking that they would be getting a new stadium in a year or so is sorely mistaken. It sounds like if that's a plan, Mike Keegan reports that it is going to take a very, very, very long time. So 6 years, which doesn't seem like a lot, but yes, it seems like a lot. When you get old and time starts moving faster, it seems like a lot. Like I'm going to be in my mid 40s by the time that gets completed. So we will see how it goes. So that's a little bit of the transfer updates. I want to jump into some VAR related news because some stuff came out late last night and early this morning around some of these projected VAR changes. I want to get your guys' thoughts. We've spoken about VAR several times. I try to keep the hashtag going of scrap VAR. If you go check out my Twitter page, MUFC versus everybody, the pinned tweet is simply just scrap VAR. So Danny B says, I don't think we have a choice. Old Trafford is gone so bad. Yeah. And that's just, it's unfortunate because it didn't have to be that way. I think it's a combination of the neglect, right? And then also I think that just the age of the stadium, I don't think that the structure itself has the capacity to contain any added capacity. I mean, seating capacity. I know that one of the projected ideas was to expand it by building like over the train tracks over there. So that, I mean, that could still be an option, but I do think that, you know, Sir Jim and then they want that stadium because you can do a lot of things with the stadium, like kind of like what Wembley does, which obviously isn't my priority, but I'm trying to look at it from their perspective as well as the owners. They're going to be looking at it that way. So we have to at least try to see it from that perspective as well. So we got some VAR updates. So these, I'm going to be kind of mixing and matching between two journalists, Hamza Khalik Lunat, who writes for Time Sport, and then Henry Winter had some stuff to add as well. So a lot of these little tidbits on VAR are coming from these two guys. They both had a little bit of a breakdown of some of these updates. So go check out those articles. Go check out their threads if you want to learn a little bit more. I'm going to be giving you kind of the gist here. So VAR changes. Basically, the first change apparently is to aim to maintain a high threshold for intervention, which is supposed to achieve minimal interference while yielding maximum benefit. That last part sounds a bit like an ad campaign decided on by a research group or something. So apparently this is meant to be similar to an umpire's call in cricket. I don't watch cricket, so if any of you do, let me know what that's like. But the ref's call will stand unless the VAR deems the call to be a clear and obvious error after reviewing evidence. I have nightmares about clear and obvious error, that phrase. We've heard it so many times, and I'm so done with it. So Hamza Khalik Lunat adds that this is designed to eliminate instances of re-refereeing and also to minimize delays. I know a lot of people in stadium are not happy with how long it takes for these things to occur. Watching on TV, while all the VAR is going on, you know, we are hearing things, we're getting some input here and there. People in the stadium, it's like commercial breaks in the NFL. You're just sitting there. There's not really anything going on. So that's first change. Second, in an effort to reduce delays, semi-automated offside will be introduced. Apparently, semi-automated offsides are supposed to reduce offside checks by 30 seconds. How does it take 30 seconds to see if a player is offside or not? I really don't understand that. I can tell when things are offside in real time with my naked eye watching on TV. Coventry's fourth goal that was disallowed in the FA Cup semifinal, I literally said it was offside when it happened. It just, there were people at the bar who, when it happened, just raged and left because they thought we had just conceded a goal. It was offside. I could see it in real time. Like, it doesn't take a room full of people looking at things multiple times over multiple angles and taking 30 seconds to see that it's offside. 30 seconds feels like a long time. You guys ever watch Jeopardy? Do Final Jeopardy? It's a long time. Henry Winter commented that this technology won't be ready at the start of the season, though. So again, one of those things where this is what I really don't like with some of these rules and things. So what I really hate about like the League Cup and the FA Cup is that, so like for instance, in those competitions, some stadiums are too small to have the infrastructure for like VAR or goal line technology, but then some stadiums are. So you have those things in some matches, but not others. That bugs me. We saw this with the handball rule a couple years ago. They changed the handball law mid-season. So now we're getting an instance where we're going to be introducing semi-automated offside, but it's not going to be ready at the start of the season. Apparently the cameras are being installed, and Henry Winter anticipates that they'll be operational after the first international break in September. Again, you're going to have calls that would have gone one way or the other had this technology been there at the start of the season, and then you're going to introduce it. It's changing. Again, you're changing the laws of the game. Has VAR not shown that more technology isn't necessarily the answer? It's like trying to do math, and you're like, well, this calculator, I can't get it in this. Let's throw 800 calculators at it and see if we can get a different. Like, it doesn't matter. It's not. And this is the biggest part about VAR that I think a lot of people, and this is a social psychology thing, is that we say VAR, but we say it stands for video assistant referee, but when we use it, it's kind of takes on this connotation of like this non-entity, like this faceless kind of, like enemy, basically, when it's a person. So you have a calculator that's not working. It's user error. You have VAR that's not doing its job. It's the referee itself. But what is what it is. Danny B, they nailed it how to manage VAR in rugby. Rarely get a mistake and really takes much time. Yeah, I don't watch rugby. So let me know what the differences are. I'll have to go maybe look at some comparisons there. I know a lot. We just don't really get it here. So same with cricket. So when they say it's going to be like an umpire's call, I don't really know what that means because I don't watch cricket. But I know that's big in the UK. I know Phil Neville, for a while when he was younger, it was a hard choice between whether or not he was going to be a professional cricket player or a footballer, and he chose football, obviously. So moving on. Number 3, they want to improve the fan experience. So referees now will announce VAR decisions in the stadium, kind of like what we see in the NFL. The ref, they do a little confab. The referee comes out. He's got his little thing that's mic'd up to the speakers, and he's going to be like personal foul, da-da-da-da-da, all this junk. And then you're going to hear it through the speakers. Replays and messaging will be shown on the big screens in the stadiums now with clips and screenshots on display, which we want to see. I get to see that here when I'm watching it on TV. But this also means too, according to Hamza Lunat, that explanations from the league's new Match Center social media account, so PL Match Center, will also be sent to the screens too. So now we're going to be getting all that stuff on the screen. So basically everyone's got to turn and basically watch a PowerPoint presentation whenever there's an incident be discussed. I know one way to improve fan experience: scrap VAR. We don't need it. I don't buy this claim that 4 out of 5 fans wanted to keep it. Just, again, keep the hashtag going. Hashtag scrap VAR. Ugh. Like the video if you hate VAR, guys. How about that? There's more. So there will be a focus on improving VAR training and consistency with an emphasis on speed of process while preserving accuracy. So they're trying to make things go faster while also maintaining the quality of the decision. It's hard to do that. It's not like making a sandwich at fast food where just repetition increases your speed and stuff. It's not how it works. Now it seems like they're focused so much on the fan frustration, which is fine to take that in consideration, right? It's because fans are football. But there's this possibility. I anticipate a possibility that it's going to negatively impact the decision. So you're going to be so focused on doing it fast that you're not going to do it right. This is what happens when your priorities are split. This is what happens when things aren't implemented properly. There's not time to kind of test this out and whatnot. You're not properly trained in it. VAR is very different. It's like when COVID hit and schools were doing virtual, work was virtual, therapy. So when I see clients, it's virtual. It's very different to doing everything face to face. There were so many struggles all over the place and so many different walks of life when that happened, because it's so very different. VAR is so different in the on-field refereeing and things like that. It's totally different. And so you can't just anticipate just a smooth transition, but we needed to take time to make that a little bit more of a seamless process. And they kind of felt like they hurried it a little bit. So all this is going to do, I think, is increase the risk for incorrect decisions, mistakes, technological errors, all that stuff. But there is a plan, it sounds like, to recruit and develop a pool of specialist video assistant referees. So some of those recruits apparently are already ready for this season. So basically, what their plan is, instead of having like Michael Oliver be the head referee in one match and then be the VAR in the next match, they're having specific referees whose only job is VAR. That's all they're doing. They're going to be trained in it. They're going to be experienced. That's what they're doing. They're going to be operate only in the mystic arts of VAR, not linesmen, not fourth officials or match ref. Martial arts, if you will. Sorry, I'll see myself out. That was bad. But I mean, that's good. But at the same time, I feel like you also need to have the perspective and a little bit of that experience of being an actual referee as well to kind of marry the two positions. So we'll see how it goes. Danny says, how do they do it in rugby? Out up on the big screen for everyone to see and debate. Yeah, I mean, all VAR has done, in my opinion, is just highlight the inadequacies of the standard of refereeing in the Premier League. I mean, it just is what it is. Because you can forgive a mistake in real time, but you can't forgive a mistake, like I've said, when there are a handful of people in a room reviewing something multiple times over multiple angles, and they still come up with either the wrong decision or a decision that was completely the opposite of the decision they made the week prior in a very similar situation. And so Danny says they're taking a lot of these new ideas from rugby. Well, if it works in rugby, I mean, that's how you do something right. You look at where it's worked in other places and you try to implement it. It's not rocket science, but it's taken 4 or 5 years now. Like, it's insane. This new Premier League Match Center social media account will also aim to improve transparency, communication to help everyone better understand decisions, because apparently facts only, not opinion. That's the tagline they're going with here. Furthermore, there will be ongoing education campaign to improve club, fan, and media understanding of VAR purpose and processes. That feels a little bit like a dig at all of us, whether it's the media, the fans, the clubs. Do we need to be educated on the benefits of how it's going to improve the game, how it's for our benefit? Like, it sounds like a lot like when the Super League, how the whole tagline there was, we know what's best for football, and we're doing what we know is best, kind of a thing. The league needs to develop a better standard of refereeing. We don't need to be educated on why VAR is what's best for us. Like, we're children and we're being told we can't eat ice cream for dinner every night. Like, I just know what's best. Like, it's not. We've been watching it longer than VAR has been around, and we didn't have a problem. Yeah, there were decisions that got wrong, but you move on, you get over it, because it's easy to do that in real time when one person's making the decision. Like, again, all it's done is take a big magnifying glass and pointed out all the deficiencies of the standard of refereeing in the UK. So sounds like Danny agrees. The whole refereeing training and development and coursework needs to be revamped, in my opinion, in the UK. The Premier League gets enough money from TV deals. What they need to do is sponsor the initial courses for refereeing, because I think that the cost rules out a lot of people because of just socioeconomic, issues, whether people can't afford it. It's not a planned expense. So even if someone wants to be a referee, sometimes they can't afford it. So you're automatically ruling out someone who may not have the funds. Make that open. Take some of that TV money, sponsor the coursework. You can even make it free if you want, like do it online or something to start. But you're broadening that initial pool, and you're really allowing more potential quality referees to come in. And then we can work on see who's got it and who's ready and who can maybe move on to that next level, who is willing, after putting in that time, to invest a little bit more in themselves in that and take the next courses, who could be qualifying for some sort of sponsorship or some sort of financial aid related situation. I don't know how that works in the UK, but we should be wanting more referees to get through the door to start, so you can see, you have a bigger sample size to get some quality referees. So it is what it is, though. Hamza Lunet added that referees will be instructed to view the pitch side monitor now only for subjective calls, and incidents involving serious play will be shown at full speed first and then in slow motion, which, I mean, that's how has that not been the thing the whole time is beyond me. The enforcement of certain rules has been tweaked as well. And here we go. This is where I start to get really, really frustrated. So, for instance, the offense of holding, blocking, or obstructing will be penalized more strictly on set pieces. The policing of handball and encroachment has been eased. And finally, a review of how additional time is calculated is expected to reduce the periods added. So it's so ridiculous. Didn't they make a point last season to add more extra time because of all the stoppages? And now they're saying we're gonna take that back. Now we're gonna backtrack it. For fuck's sake, man! This is what did I just say about highlighting the deficiencies and the poor decision making? Again, these last points really demonstrate one of my two main issues that I have with VAR. Obviously, my first issue is inconsistency, right? A room full of people watching something multiple times over multiple angles can make two opposite decisions over the course of 2 match weeks. But then if you look at how much the laws of the game not only have changed since the introduction of VAR, but how much they're changing almost mid-season, one season to the next, based on what they're learning. Like, the game should not be your guinea pig for this new technology and this new like way of doing things. That's not fair to the players. It's not fair to the clubs. Not fair to the fans. It's insane. Again, how many times have we seen some of these? Like, the handball rule has been totally revamped. The offside stuff has been totally revamped. Like, everything has just been changed too much to accommodate VAR, when all you need to do is just not use VAR. I almost wish they would just say, like, okay, it's been 5 years. That was a 5-year trial period. We've found that, it's not working out. We've got, fan responses. And I think, we just decided after this trial period to just not move forward with it at this time. Just say that. I don't even care if it's bullshit. Just say it and let's move on. But let me know your thoughts. I'm like so annoyed with VAR. Anyway, I predict all these changes. What's going to happen is you're going to see a couple of really big controversial decisions early on this season, potentially game result changing decisions. And then we'll see some of these laws relaxed or tweaked as the season goes on. Everyone will move on until the exact opposite decisions occur later on in the season and then cause another uproar. So as always, scrap VAR. It's here to stay at this point. I feel like it's caused more problems and more changes than any benefits that it's offered, and I can't understand why we're persisting with it. I imagine it's cost so much money just to do all this that, like, what is the cost benefit of analysis here? What is the ROI on the situation? I haven't yet to see a benefit of it personally. And like Danny says, I don't understand how in other sports, even in other leagues, it's done so well. But that, again, I guess I do understand, because what that tells you is that it's referees. It's the quality of refereeing in England, because they don't have any problems with it elsewhere. Not as many as I've seen in the Premier League. So what are you going to do? Closing out a little bit with some random information today. Don't forget to hit that like button if you haven't, and you guys subscribe if you are new. The channel is doing pretty well. It seems like a lot of you really liked Saturday's award show. I see a lot of the views going up, so I do appreciate that. Lets me know maybe we can do more of those kind of shows, maybe have Dylan back, maybe have some other guests as well. So let me know your thoughts in the comments on that video as well. Had fun doing that. So closing out on some random news, I got an interesting text from Dylan, my co-host from that Saturday show. I thought it was a rumor when I looked at the link this morning, and then I opened it, and then I got some further evidence from an article in The Athletic from David Ornstein. So apparently, Mauricio Pochettino has agreed to become the new U.S. men's national team coach. That is very interesting. As an American, obviously, I have a relationship with the U.S. men's national team, but it's more of an ambivalent relationship. Like, obviously, I'm an American. I'm loyal. But like I was telling my friend Justin just a little bit ago, it's kind of like supporting the Detroit Lions in the NFL. Like, you're loyal, but your expectations are low, right? You don't expect much. It's just the way it is. I thought the 2014 World Cup was a great experience. I remember watching those games. The match against Portugal was very exciting. I loved that whole experience. Obviously, the last World Cup, we did get out of our group stage, which was very good to do. Struggled a bit against England, and then obviously the Netherlands put us to the sword a little bit. But the expectations from the U.S. men's national team, at least for me, have always been realistically tempered. Sorry. Our squad now is not filled with MLS players anymore, which you could say on paper is great, but at the same time, I do think that 2014 squad would beat this current squad, because yes, Weston McKennie doesn't play in the MLS, but I don't think Weston McKennie is better than Michael Bradley or Kyle Beckerman or Jermaine Jones. I just don't. I don't think that some of the strikers we have are better than Clint Dempsey. I don't think Pulisic is better than Landon Donovan. I just don't. That's just the way I feel. So, and I don't think any of our keepers are ever going to be better than Tim Howard. Yeah, he was with Everton for a very long time, but I forget who he played against in that one World Cup match in 2014. He made like 20 saves in that match. Like, he was a force of nature in the match. So it is what it is. It's going to be interesting to see what Pochettino has to do with the UN's men's national team. Obviously, the whole scouting, signings, and all that kind of stuff are off of his plate. But at the same time, he's got to look at talent pool. He's got to work with every couple of year, rotation of talent and things, and see who's coming and who's going. We'll see what he does. You never know. He's known for working with young players and things like that. So maybe he could do something. We'll see. The guy literally said trophies are for egos. I don't know what you're in professional sports management for then. So let me know your thoughts on that. Did anyone see that coming? Probably not anybody. So that is going to do it for me today. Thank you, everybody who stopped by today. Danny, Sports Predictions, thank you guys for stopping by. I will be back this afternoon, sometime after we get that pre-match press conference from Ten Hag for tomorrow's opener against Fulham at Old Trafford to open the 24-25 Premier League season. We'll get some team news, some injury updates, talk a little bit about how we think Fulham are going to set up, talk a little bit about the history between the two clubs in recent years, and then we will see, predict what we're going to do, tactically, set up and everything, and then we'll get your score predictions on that one. So come back for that one a little later on this afternoon. Then, cheers, Danny. See you again, my friend, and I will see you guys a little later on. Bye.